Hey everyone, welcome back to Notes to Self. My name is Melanie.
And I'm her amazing, sweet husband, Corey.
You are too. That was a good intro. Thank you. If you don't know who we are, we're both
arrogant.
No, you're not.
Less and humble.
No, you're not. Okay. We were both born and raised in a polygamous cult here in Utah. I was raised with 4 mothers and 34 brothers and sisters.
My blessed father had 9 wives.
Yeah, you're on one.
Yeah, 9 wives and 39 kids he raised in a compound up in Pinestone, Montana.
Yeah, my dad is the current leader of the AUB, or the Apostolic United Brethren, which is the group that we came from.
And my father is not.
Nope, and his dad never will be. Nope, I come from royalty, you do not.
I do not.
But it's okay. We're good. So we want to remind everybody to do their healing work. If you have not started doing your healing work, if you are a human with a human body, then you have experienced some level of trauma. And we really highly encourage everyone to look into that and see if there's ways to, if there's things that you can do to heal some of that trauma. We currently have been going through that for some big things over the last couple of weeks. We've been going through that, we've been working on healing, and now we're ready to, get back at it again and give you all of our commentary on all things polygamy, cult and crazy and polygamy.
And if you can't we watched Trust Me, the False Prophet. We're doing the first episode of that. And so I forget growing up in these communities. So that's why I said Blessed Father. Because they're all calling him Father and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I forgot.
Yep. So we watched the episode, or we watched the entire docuseries, Trust Me, the False Prophet, on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it is on Netflix. Feel free to go give it a look. It's really disturbing. And it's interesting because we had been talking on a couple videos before about some of the abuse that we had gone through as children. And I was prerequisiting it with, if I sound cold and heartless, I'm not really. I've just done enough healing that I have taken some of the emotion out of it. And then I watched this documentary and it got all of my emotions right up there again, because it's so hard to watch other people suffer from the same abuse or very similar abuse to what you've gone through. And so, some of the opinions that we give on here are just based on our own experiences. We are not the authority on anything other than our own experiences and what we've gone through.
We grew up in the AUB, similar in many ways, but not part of the FLDS. But it's amazing how similar the indoctrination is on both communities. So, or any cult, you have to have major levels of indoctrination to be a part of these beautiful communities. So.
Well, and I think the hardest part for me is just that the abuse is so rampant. And it can be so ignored. One of the things that one of the people in here said, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, is she says, will they hear one woman's voice? And then she met Christina Marie, and Christina Marie, she goes, so now there's 2 of us. And I know that feeling. I know that feeling of feeling that isolation, a feeling I must be the only one experiencing this. I must be the one who has fallen from the grace of the Lord, that I don't have the wonderful feelings that I'm supposed to be having. I don't have the wonderful blessings that I'm supposed to be having. I don't feel like this is right. So therefore I must have fallen out of the graces of God. And so who's going to listen to me? Nobody's going to listen to me, and I must be the only one. And so I feel like there's a lot of we question ourselves. And then another thing I feel like I got out of this docuseries was just the constant questioning. Like, am I crazy? Am I this doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't sound right. I must be crazy. I must not be as close to God as I'm supposed to be. And so it leaves you in this constant wondering if you're doing what's right, if you're getting an increase or a decrease, as they say in this show. What do you think?
I've
turned that towards you.
I feel like that we call it common sense or this knowledge that something is off or wrong. And so you see these young girls question that. You see adults question that, and then they're basically rebuked, and you would question the mouthpiece of the Lord, you would question the prophet, and eventually then they're worried about, is this thing we call common sense promptings from Lucifer or the devil?
Right.
Or the rest of us call it common sense, but they kind of have it in there as promptings from Lucifer the devil. You're not listening to the Lord's mouthpiece or the leader. And so he does. He confuses you into, okay, I got another gut feeling. I better put that aside because I've asked about these things, and I'm almost being shamed or ridiculed for even asking.
For even questioning it.
And if he had probably listened to some of the gut feelings of his wives, that then they could have been doing all sorts of garbage throughout the thing. So good thing he didn't.
Right.
For the sake of the young girls.
Well, and one thing that frustrated me about this entire docuseries is that how many times we're being tested. And this is another reason why I don't always trust the motives of people. Is what do you want? What's in it for you? Why are we, when you grow up in a cult like situation like this, at least for me, I felt like nobody ever just genuinely helped you because they were just genuinely good people. They did it because they had a motivation. There was a test of some sort. And it's like, if you failed that test, if you didn't agree with whatever was being presented to you, then you could possibly fail the test. If you did agree, then you could possibly fail the test. It was never fair. It was never a fair test. It was always at the discretion of whoever was testing you. Then if they claimed it was coming from God, if they claimed it was coming from whoever it was, there was always ways for them to manipulate whatever it was you were being tested with. Oh, and then it's compared to Abraham and Isaac. It's compared to, Abraham followed the Lord all the way up until the moment that he had to actually kill Isaac. And then the Lord said, you passed my test. This is what happens in cults like this, is that you're constantly being tested like this. So people wonder, how do they fall for this bullshit? Well, that's a lot of the way, is when you're born and raised constantly being tested.
Being told constantly that you are God's chosen people, so he will be testing you just like he tested Abraham. So you are trying to pass all of these tests. You're expecting those tests, and you don't know how to even pass them. So do you continue forward?
Yeah.
God says that you have to give me one of your wives. Okay, he's just going to test me to this certain point. Well, hell, he took my wife.
Yeah, it's like if you responded with absolutely not, then he's like, oh, good, you passed that test, because God would not make you give up a wife. But if you responded with, okay, Brother Samuel, here's my wife. Oh, you passed God's test. God was wanting to see if you'd be a loyal, faithful servant and give me your wife, and you did. So now you passed the test. It's just always this. It's such a mind. It's a mind all the way. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard because you just don't ever know what the outcome is. And when you put so much faith in someone else. So that is one of the things that when we first started our channel, I had a content creator come after us pretty harshly, and Christina Marie reached out to us, and we were able to have quite a few long conversations with her and her husband, Tolga. And part of me wondered, what's in it for her? Why does she want to come and help us? Why is she spending this kind of time with me, trying to help me to walk through, online bullying, basically is what it was. It was online, like, this is my domain. You don't come in it. And if you do, I'm going to bully the hell out of you. And so I didn't understand why she reached out or why she connected with me, but we've stayed connected for the last couple of years. And so that was some of my very first commentary on this documentary, was what motivated her to do this? What motivated her to pick up her entire life and move to this town? Now, as most of you know, we are both in real estate. So I wondered if maybe she was just getting cheap land, if she was able to buy some of these homes at tax auctions, and she was able to go and pick up a home that would otherwise be worth a couple $100,000, and she was able to pick it up for a couple $100 at a tax auction, whatever it was. So at first I wasn't, and I hate to say that because I don't want to go my whole life not trusting people, but I have always kind of wondered what's in it for someone. Go ahead.
We're just like the girls. They were the community. It's you're not supposed to trust anybody from the outside ever.
Right.
We all have motives inside against each other. Why wouldn't the whole world outside have motives against us?
Well, and that's such a great point too. We're raised in a society where everyone has ulterior motives towards everyone else. You're always trying to get someone else's wife. Someone's always trying to steal your wife. You're always trying to get someone else's husband. Someone always wants your husband. No one ever comes with clear, honest communication.
Somebody's sucking up to you because they want to date your daughter. Whatever.
Somebody has an extra truck. Yeah. They want your daughter. Yeah. Here, you want my truck? I want your daughter. Let's make a deal. And so this is how a lot of these societies work. And unfortunately, when you are born into this, and this is the only type of behavior that you have seen the majority of your life, it's hard to, no matter how much healing you do, it's hard to not see that sometimes. Now, since we've been doing our channel and we see people like Tanya Toole from Holding Out Help, and we see some of the attorneys that have stepped in and just done pro bono work to help these people out, we are starting to see that there are just good people in the world that just do want to genuinely help. But that has not been the experience that I grew up with, for sure. We rarely saw
within a community even.
With good intentions, with genuinely pure intentions. Everybody always wanted something from someone. So that was some of my very first, go ahead.
No.
Some of my very first commentary on here is what would cause her to do this? Why would she just up and move? We even talked about it. Was it for the money? Was it for, did she have a Christ complex where she needed to come in and save other people? Did she really truly have a genuine heart and just want to help people? It feels to us as the documentary went through that she just genuinely did want to help other people, that she just genuinely has a good heart, her and her husband do. And I've been proud to watch her throughout this. And again, we've been connected on social media, her and I have been for the last 2.5 years. And I have not ever seen anything to the contrary, that she just wanted to help these people. She just wanted to genuinely step in and say, here we are. Let us help you. What can we do? And so she did. She tried to gain their trust. She tried to figure out what it is that they needed, what it is that they, one of the things I love that she said in there is that she never spoke poorly of their prophet or of their leadership, because that is one of the hardest ways, that is one of the very first ways to get people to ignore you. We've been experiencing that lately. The tricky part about it, though, is the prophet that we're speaking poorly of happens to be my father, which happens to be personal experiences that we've been going through. So I understand why she doesn't want to speak poorly.
Yeah. Something that I probably can't do. So I would never blend in with that community.
Right.
So,
right. And that's what
I grew up in a community like it. So that's why I probably wouldn't blend in.
That's why I thought you would be like more frustrated with the documentary than I was, because you did grow up in a town like that, where I didn't. I did, but not on a compound the way that these girls, and I don't think they touched the compound life on here as much as they probably could have. I was surprised by that. They just mostly stuck to the family.
Yeah. Yeah, this compound's probably even different than ours, because our compound we all lived in the same home like that, all of our family, but we didn't have our whole group living in 2 homes. Everybody that was, we didn't have the parents of my dad's wives living with him too. So
that's true.
Where they had the 2 homes and a warehouse. But
what's crazy to me is how many mothers and daughters married the same. Because I think Sam had a couple mother-daughter marriages. I know he had sister marriages, but I couldn't quite tell. I couldn't quite tell if it was mother-daughter marriages too. One thing that we talked about too is Esther and Norma.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's just interesting to me that both Esther and Norma, it does absolutely. What they're talking about is, well, our prophet's still in prison, and he hasn't assigned anybody else, and so I don't know what these guys are doing. They're judging the rest of the community that are continuing to have children, continuing to have sex since their their prophet has told them not to, and then he just quit talking. He just disappeared, and so they're in a limbo waiting, and it actually creates this environment, creates new Sam Batemans to pop up as these ladies are sitting there righteously judging those families that are still choosing to have children against the prophet's word, and a bit of distancing themselves is what she says. It's actually shunning them away. Then it has these families that are having children starting to question. They're being pushed away from the community, not invited to hang around with the community. That's what they were basically saying is, we haven't seen him for a little bit, and all of a sudden he's coming back around. These families were basically pushed out and shunned.
Right.
They're worried, did we make a poor decision in continuing to have children against
our prophet's
advice? And all of a sudden some Sam Bateman pops up and says, no, Warren's been talking to me. It's good that you are doing it. In fact, you should give me your daughters and wives. We should continue to have families, and you're welcomed into our group.
Right.
And so, yeah, it creates the shunning, the judgment from these wonderful little old ladies is what creates Samuel Batemans to pop up. And usually when a charismatic prophet is incarcerated or passes away, a less charismatic
simpleton
simpleton comes into play, and community split because of it. So one portion of the community will say, no, the next one in line is this person if they've done it. If not, it's like, well, I feel like this guy's speaking more like Warren than this guy or the past prophets. He's quoting those prophets. And so you'll get these constant splits of families and communities separating themselves. It happened up in Pinesdale. I mean, the community I grew up in probably has 2 or 3 different factions of people who believe other men within the community were actually the leaders. So, well,
and they're so stalwart in what they're saying. They absolutely know what they're saying is to be true. So we're going to share this little clip with you here.
Negative about him.
You don't believe it's true?
I know it's not true.
You can hear in her voice where she says, I know it's not true. They're so convicted in what they believe in that, here they are. Norma and Esther are sitting back judging the Sam Batemans and the followers of Sam Bateman for doing exactly what they have done with Warren Jeffs. And yet they cannot see that because Sam Bateman's a false prophet, yet they don't see that Warren Jeffs is a false prophet in any way. You can't talk to them about Warren Jeffs being a false prophet because they truly 100% believe that he is the prophet of the Lord.
And here's the reason why. It's amazing to me that they can see what's going on with Sam and judge it so harshly and are unwilling to see it with Warren, and it's because they feel like Warren is doing what the Lord has told the people to do. It's revelation. So on one hand, Sam Bateman can be marrying young brides and doing all these horrific things, and it's looked upon, shunned, where on the other hand, if the Lord's mouthpiece said what the young girls are looking for is to create a family in righteousness. We're promised righteous men and holy prophets will come through your bloodline. They're trying to create the next generation of righteous men to hail in the second coming of Christ.
Right.
And so all of a sudden it comes from somebody that they absolutely believe the Lord is speaking through, and they will listen to that and justify it or say that it's a higher calling, where you look over here at Sam Bateman, him doing it, and that's disgusting. Well, it's disgusting on both sides. And he believes the same thing too. He thinks God's talking to him and giving him permission to be with these young girls also, because he's just doing the same thing that Warren was, creating a righteous seed.
What makes Warren okay and him not okay?
Yeah. And yet these ladies can see that, and they got the blinders on this side, but they're seeing what's going on with Sam and judging it. So,
well, and one of the things too that we were taught, that was pounded into our heads, I feel like growing up, was not 1 year should go by that a child is not born under the covenant of celestial plural marriage. Not 1 year. That was probably one of the most things that I was taught growing up. Probably one of the most prominent. This is because when people would say, why do you love plural marriage? This is so hard. This is so whatever. That was the number one thing that we were taught all the time. And now Warren Jeffs is in prison and giving doctrine, if you will, contrary to the number one thing we were taught growing up. And I don't care if you're FLDS, if you're Kingston, if you're AUB, if you're independent polygamist, every polygamist believes that. Every polygamist is taught that once Joseph Smith restored the fullness of the gospel here on earth, it was never to be taken from the earth again. So there should never be a year that goes by that a child is not born into that fullness. Now, where they disagree is where that fullness is. Is it with FLDS? Is it with AUB? Is it with the Kingstons? Is it with the independents? Wherever it is, that's where they disagree. But the main fundamental agreement between all polygamous people is that you keep a child every single year. Well, now Warren's taken that away. He's taken away celestial marriage. He's taken away children being born. And so now this is direct contrary to everything that you've been taught. Now
that he probably taught over the pulpit.
That he absolutely did. And unfortunately, when you are in a cult like this, and this will probably hurt some of my cult friends' feelings, but it's like they don't know how to make their own decision. And as a parent, we had this conversation too. As a parent, you want to teach your children to lean on you if they need to, but be self-sufficient. That is absolutely the opposite in a cult situation. You want your people to lean on you. They cannot survive without you. If they learn that they can survive without you, you might not have a leadership position anymore. You will lose that leadership position and you will just be one of the congregation. So I remember being a very young child and hearing my dad say, oh my gosh, these people are frustrating me so bad. They literally won't go buy a brand of toothpaste without us telling them what brand to buy. And it's debilitating at times because they literally feel like they cannot make a move in their life without directive from the leadership. Well, when your leader goes to prison and then goes silent, these people are floundering. They don't have anything. They don't have directive. They don't have purpose. And now he's issuing doctrine that is very contrary to the very fiber of what it is that you're supposed to be doing. That's a breeding ground for Samuel Batemans to pop up. They said there's another one out there, Helaman and Jeff's. There's a bunch of them out there right now. That is a breeding ground for that. And again, it's no different than the kings of England or the hierarchy of Scotland's or any. When a leader falls out of position, whether death, whether he's, incarcerated, whatever, there's a scramble to the top. Who can fill that position? And so then you try to dupe your public into it. It's funny, we're both in real estate, and unfortunately one of the terms in real estate is the dupable public. We have to be responsible for what our dupable public believes in. And so that is how it's even more so when you're in a cult, because you definitely don't want these people making independent decisions without your directive, or you lose your position. Does that make sense?
Yep. Especially when you're raised from childhood to question every gut feeling you get.
Right.
I feel like that's wrong based on some of the things you've taught me. Well, it's only wrong if you don't do it with the right authority. And that really is, it's a loss of gut check. It's a lot, you're constantly, if you question, you're unruly, you're disobedient. So then you are reliant on asking constantly, what can I do? What's the next step, prophet? What does the Lord have in store for me, Father? And you're completely obedient. And she said that in there. They're breeding these young kids just to be obedient.
Perfect obedience.
Yeah. And
again, I'm not trying to pick on any of my siblings or anything, but just watching some of my own siblings that have come out of this and literally cannot make a decision without being directed or guided in where to go or what to do, or even how to say it, to the point where it's like, you are a woman of decision. You get to decide this. You get to decide if this is okay or not. You get to decide if this sounds okay or not, or if this is professional or not, or whatever it is. So some of my own siblings who weren't even as indoctrinated as I was are still coming out of this going, I can't make a decision without being guided or directed by my parents. Can't make a decision without being guided or directed by my father, especially the girls. The girls are, and when your entire life is from birth to now is perfect obedience, this is what you do. And so when, so she talks about, Christina also goes in there and she talks to some of the mothers about they believe they're the real Mormons. Yeah. And so I wrote that down because they believe, and Norma says, well, we believe in living this way fundamentally and in its purity.
Living our religion fundamentally and in purity.
Yeah.
And I love that she used that word right there, the purity part of it. Things that are questionable to our psyche, things that have any sort of question. She uses that word purity because they feel like that some of the things that go on, as long as it's done under the guidance of the Lord and through ceremony within the temple, that it is now pure, even though if some other prophet was doing it, it's not pure. And so they're trying to, it's the propaganda piece of cult people talking to outside people and even each other that we're living this in purity.
Yeah.
Even though there's questionable purity all throughout many of these groups. So.
Right. Well, and Esther was over here going, yeah, Sam Bateman just showed up one day. I know we already touched on this a little bit, but it just shows up one day with a wife, and then shows up with another wife, and then shows up with a whole trailer full of wives. And and her thought was, it's like he clear forgot some of our core beliefs, and the babies are evidence that they are doing this. I said that one time in one of my videos. I was evidence. We are both firstborn children in polygamy. And so Corey's mom's second wife, my mom's the second wife, we're both firstborn children. I was the evidence to my LDS grandparents or my LDS great grandparents that my parents were living polygamy. And so I was shunned for that quite a bit because of that. Well, Sam Bateman shows up with a trailer full of wives and babies, and those babies are the evidence that he's not doing what the prophet.
He's not following the living prophet's commands.
Exactly. And that he's got all these wives. Now, it was really hard to see that trailer full of those wives. And we paused and we looked at all of them. And I know there's been a lot of controversy online about the digitally altering their faces. And I can definitely see both sides of that. You know, we did count, yes, there was 9 underage girls in that trailer, 9 altered faces. And I see both sides of it. I see the how disturbing it is, because we don't really want to turn a blind eye to how disturbing it is. And then a lot of people who know them personally have said that the digital alteration was much too close to their original faces, which caused a lot of concern for a lot of people. Well, a lot of these people I'm either connected to or indirectly or directly on social media, just because we're all related in one way or the other. And so I know there's been some controversy about that, but I feel like everyone's angry with this police officer, right? Because he says, "Oh, I watched it once. I can't watch it again for my tender heart." I feel like it's kind of the same thing with the digital alteration. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to see how ugly the truth really looks when it's small children. And yet seeing some of the facial expressions of these children, is that sometimes the only way to hit it home? Is that the only way that people are going to really say what this man did was disgusting and dark and gross? Because it's easy to turn away from it. It's easy to not see it if it's blurred out. It's easy. So I can see both sides. I can see why they tried to digitally alter it, because they really wanted that impact for people to see that these are children. Yeah. And then I see the other people with, absolutely with the tender hearts that don't want to see children in that position.
Well, I wanted to kind of point out too, Sam and Melissa, we watched a little bit of their stuff. And what I find interesting is their prophet told them not to sign paperwork. That was interesting to me, because it helped me kind of understand that there were people that were looking at this. They weren't paying their taxes. And so the government was basically saying, pay your taxes and you get to keep the property. Some people were trying to be so devout, righteous to the prophet, that they were willing to risk and lose it. Others were signing it, keeping their homes, continuing to have children. These followers of Sam were continuing to have children.
Right.
So they were so they're not only being judged for having children, getting married, but even doing a simple thing of working things out with the government to keep your home and to keep their family with roofs over their head. And the minute they did that, and those others would go out as martyrs for the prophet and lose their homes, those that kept their homes were being judged too, which is it. And so you didn't even have to have children or
get new wives.
All you had to do is keep your home, and you were being judged.
Keep your home due to property taxes, and you were being judged.
It's insane to me.
Yeah.
The shunning and how divisive it is. So,
and that's the problem with these small communities, is the absolute judgment and shunning of people. And what's funny is everyone does it. And yet, what?
In the sweetest way. Like these little old ladies. They're
and she's like, Esther's like,
in the sweetest
I don't know, he's not following our court. It's like they done forgot all of our
court.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how on earth can you say this about Samuel Bateman and his children and his wives? And yet on the other side, you're following a false prophet, and you don't want to be made aware. You don't even want to know what the court systems are saying about it, because blind ignorance equals 100% faithful obedience.
Those who made accusations against their prophet are being, what is it, drawn away by Lucifer.
Right.
And those people, those judges and things that put him away for those things are Lucifer's men. I don't even want to look at that evidence. I don't even want to look there because I believe a different way, but then they'll turn and see,
Right.
oh, yep, there we are. You're doing it too. And they're the ones that was okay. They were okay with when the cops started coming in and arresting Sam and doing that. Well, kind of got what he deserved.
But they don't like
But
it when
they
they're
don't
doing it
like
to
it
Warren
when you're doing
Jeffs.
it to your own prophet.
Exactly. And
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
that is one of the most frustrating parts of this whole entire thing is there's scripture out there that says we are blessed by the intent of our heart. So we all judge everyone else over there doing exactly what we're doing over here, but they don't know the intent of our heart. So therefore we're not as guilty as they are over there. And that's what gets exhausting about the whole thing is it's like, wait a second, you are doing the same exact thing. You just don't see it as the same exact thing because your intention is different. Your heart is different than what it is over here.
They're not using the right magic words, those people. Well, they're using the exact same ones. Well, it's not coming from the right prophet then. So yeah, we'll just judge each other.
Yeah. One of the
for our
things I
different
wanted
prophets.
to show that is just a silly little thing. It really does not have a whole lot of relevancy to anything, but I just wanted to kind of show it right here.
Song.
An inheritance with our Savior.
So as you watch these girls dance or singing, this is another form of the judgment. You've got some with phones looking at the words, others without phones not looking at the words. This was one of the things that we grew up with. I became superior to other people because I memorized all my hymns. I memorized all my songs. I know, isn't that nuts? But as I watch these girls, there's a couple of them in there who are like the perfect one. Gnomes is one of them. She's not looking at a phone. She's looking, and this is a way to become, this is just a slight edge over your sister wife. This is a slight edge over the girl next to you, is because you have learned these words. And again, this comes back to the shunning and the superiority, and there's hierarchy in every single community. And I know that's a silly little clip, but as I watched this, because we went through and watched this a couple of times because of the 10-year-olds in there, I started to notice just the difference. And I notice myself even doing it now when we go back into a church house. And I'm like, oh, I don't need the songbook. I got this memorized, because that was a level of superiority that I felt like I had because, you know, I was learning the words. Isn't that silly?
Yeah,
I didn't even have that conversation with you.
That's awesome.
But how many women do you know? It's okay. I don't need that songbook. I know this. I know. Put your shoulder to the wheel. I know that song 100% because I am a good soldier of the Lord. Or I know, you know.
Yeah.
What? No, you look like you're about to say something.
No, just all the songs that this kind of stuff kind of took me back, man. All the hymns, and people were very
devout.
Devout about singing.
And there were some that were more devout than others, and those should be recognized and put above the other people. They really genuinely should in their own minds. And I was one of those people that I was very much a people pleaser and a very much a father. I wanted to please my father. And so I learned them. And so as I watched the way just the mannerisms of some of these girls while they're singing these songs, I can relate to it so much because there's a level of superiority in, like, she's looking at her husband, like, you see that they have words and I don't, because you know, and it's just simple. It's a simple little thing that elevates you and puts you above the other women because they don't care enough to learn the music by heart. Look what I did. Isn't it? It's gross and it's silly and it's just trivial, but nonetheless, there it was. And I caught it on there.
My dad, when I was younger, told me that I couldn't carry a tune if he gave me handles. So I became a lip singer at church, so I would destroy people's eardrums. So I never learned the words, didn't have to, because I was never going to sing them.
But it's different for the women than it is for the men. And and it's because women are objects to be owned. They're put up there to be looked at, to be
talent.
right.
They want them to be this
So you
wife of mine can cook better than all the rest. I mean, you even see it in this wife has got the most beautiful voice that touches my heart. So yeah.
Right. And so it's not that
talent shows.
This is how these really women had nothing. They weren't doctors. They weren't lawyers. They weren't anything. You were either a good cook, a good performing singer, obedient. And so it was these tiny little things that you would hold on to that made you that made you a little bit better than the next wife over. Again, this is, not to bring sister wives into it, but this is where we see this with Robin Brown. She's constantly, there are these tiny little competitions that she's got with the other wives that she's always just trying to elevate herself just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And not every woman in polygamy is this way. Let me just say that they're not, but the majority of them are, because what else sets them apart? They're all in the same dresses. They're all in the same everything else. So what else sets you apart? Obedience sets you apart. Learning your, hymns, learning how to cook, all of these different things. So you hold on to these tiny little, what seems insignificant to the outside world, but is a huge part of the world of a girl that has lost her voice. Yeah. Has literally lost her voice or has never been able to have her voice. All right. So we're about halfway through this episode, but we're going to keep this video a little bit shorter. Go ahead. So one of the things, I want to show you this next little clip here.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get hit for.
And I will duly ask you to, and he has proven it, and God is my witness.
All the men in Sam's group had status in the community, and they all were successful.
So on here, Moroni testifies about Samuel Bateman being the mouthpiece for the Lord. And he says right here, I got the wrong clip right there, but it says he was so taken back by Samuel Bateman's boldness to claim that he was the spirit of Uncle Warren, that's what woke him up to the truth, is because nobody would dare. I mean, any man with true, honest, critical thinking would probably sit and go, I wonder if they'll actually believe me if I say this. But a complete simpleton with absolutely no
town simpleton.
Yeah.
By making this,
would go, if I make this up, of course they're going to believe me. Yeah. And so somebody like Moroni would believe that, because he's like, nobody on earth would actually say this unless it's true. It has to be true, because no one else would actually do this. Do you know men like that?
Yeah. Well, they're running around playing desert parkour, and then all of a sudden they start to speak or regurgitate the diaries and the things, and he's like, well, they're not expecting that coming from this guy. They're not. Right. And so when it starts coming out of his mouth that, no, Warren told me this, and everybody wants to be enlightened, but when he comes in with such fervor, they're like, well, the Lord must be speaking through this simple man, so he must be the prophet. So yes, we'll follow, we'll obey, type thing. And plus it helps us out, because we thought we were damned to hell by the last prophet. This prophet's giving us salvation. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Yep. And so that's what we all, come on, everyone who's watching this documentary is looking at Sam Bateman like, what in the hell? And yet 90% of everyone I knew looked at the AUB last prophet that way too. Like, what in heaven's name is happening here? Why is this guy was accused of all of these horrific things, and yet he's now the leader of the AUB? And so that's
huge divides.
Yeah. It causes huge divides in just in the communities. And this is where you get one apostasy off of another apostasy off another apostasy. But anyone who's watching this documentary is like, where in the hell did Sam Bateman come from? Why on earth would anybody follow him? But I feel like they spell it out for us right here. I did get the right spot right here. I want to pull this one up.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Might have to go back a second.
Mind. You don't have any clue. Those girls love him. I'll testify that to the whole world. I've seen it.
Everybody in a fundamental Mormon group want to be a
So this is another one of the things that they do to shame people, to get people, I will testify it to the whole world. Well, buddy, you testified that. How are you taking back your thoughts now? You testified to this. You swore to this. When you testify to something, that is your word. It's your bond. It's your spiritual word, your spiritual bond. Go ahead. I can tell you're chomping at the bit there.
No, he just says, whatever this looks like to an earthly mind. He's almost, the temporal mind is the mind that can be controlled by, in their belief system, Lucifer or temptation or things like that. So he doesn't expect us temporal people to understand what he's trying to testify.
Yeah.
And that this guy is a prophet. He's been speaking those daughters, and it's exciting. Those daughters are in love with the prophet and want to be there. And you guys, you temporal people won't understand that. You will think that they are brainwashed. But this is a celestial teaching and so it's almost like, in the way he's kind of describing it, he's talking down to the
he's talking down to Christina. Yep.
And the rest of us listening, that you guys, your earthly mind won't understand.
You can't comprehend the spiritual realm that we're in. And again, that is
common sense.
Yeah.
So
the
feelings,
common sense is the downfall of man.
It's all
earthly, thinking.
thinking.
Well, and then at the end there, you see all of these women sitting on his lap and, rubbing Samuel Bateman's chest and touching his face. This is where all that ego comes in too. He is literally treated like a king. He's literally treated like a god. And he's got a godlike status. And everyone talks about, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
I know. Sorry. You always look like you're about to say something. I want to make sure you get it in there.
No.
And so then this is one of the things people do. They genuinely wonder, how did these people follow them? And they basically spell it out for you right here. If you're going to have the big, huge kahunas to come in here and say that you're speaking for Warren Jeffs, that you're speaking for God, because no man with critical thinking, common sense would ever do that. So you really, truly must be a prophet. You really, truly must be a man of the Lord. And it's, obviously it says it in like episode 2 or 3, something like that, that Samuel Bateman is studying Warren Jeffs' teachings. He's studying all the things Warren Jeffs did. He's literally playing out Warren Jeffs' handbook play by play. That's what he's doing. And he's getting these otherwise very intelligent, very well-off, financially well-off men to follow him, to the point where he has a couple Bentleys and a Range Rover. And I thought it was interesting. His license plate says, "Ask Father." Yeah. That is one thing that just, because I grew up with that. Oh, let's go talk to Father. Oh, let's go. It literally just makes me want to, because these women are so obedient. And again, they're just doing what they've been programmed to do their entire lives. I was just doing what I was programmed to do my entire life. But they talk about the motorcade that goes through town. And so here's this man driving around Bentleys, driving around Range Rovers, speaking as if he's Warren Jeffs. And he's got all of these girls at his every sexual need, beck and call, falter, they're all in competition for him. Everywhere he goes, he's literally treated like a god. Of course he comes out and drives his motorcade around. I love how Christina Marie said, I drove it around like a big FU to all the other men in the community, because these other men were not simple enough in the mind to make up a statement that they were speaking for Warren Jeffs, and anyone with critical thinking would have went, oh, okay.
Well, I almost guarantee Sam Bateman, I should say that. My assumption is Sam Bateman talked to every man within the community and told them the same story. The difference is most of the men within the community that are following Warren's teachings and not having children, not getting new wives, are going, no, I don't believe that. Warren's still the prophet. No, he's dead. But they weren't shunned. They were still considered righteous men within the community, following and believing in Warren. It was those men that were shunned because they were continuing to have children that then went, okay, well,
we'll follow Samuel.
Let's latch on to this next prophet so that we feel included again.
Well, we see it in our own presidency here in the United States. What happens when we get a new president? The entire cabinet is repositioned. You know, all these people are fired. The president hires in all of his new people. It's no different than that. That same thing is in a cult. It's the same thing. Oh, you know what? I didn't have very much status with the last prophet. Maybe if I get in good at the ground level.
If I get in the new prophet with the ground level, I could probably be his top 3.
Right.
And so the top 3's joined right up.
And literally every time there's a transition of power, there is also a transition of the people around that person in power. I mean,
and you want to get in there quick.
Yeah. I mean, you want to be the defense secretary. You want to be Homeland Security guy. You want to be, you know, that's exactly how it is in a cult. It's no different. It's the same way in the monarchy. It's
ruling order.
Yeah. Exactly. And so these guys are like, oh, and this is why MLMs are so rampant in Mormon doctrine and Mormon, not doctrine, but Mormon societies, is because if I get in at the ground level, I'm going to be making money off the backs of these other people forever.
You'd at least be in the first 12 apostles.
Right. Right.
Prophet. Yeah.
Yeah. I might be vice president one day. And so of course they're going to start. And especially like you said earlier, especially if they were looked down upon or shunned from the previous prophet, why would they want to follow that prophet when they can follow this new prophet? And, you know, and now he thinks highly or better of them.
Some good ranking.
Right. What?
I like it. Good analogy.
Okay. So another thing they talk about is the impressions. The impressions is something that he gets from the Lord. Instead of saying I have a revelation. And again, this is how cults do things. Each cult leader does something different. It's like, I can't really say that I get a revelation that God comes and talks to me directly because, you know, that would make me a liar. So I'm just going to say I was impressed by the Lord to do these things. And so they change their verbiage to make it so that they're somewhat telling the truth, but maybe not all the way telling the truth.
Until he becomes full-fledged prophet, then he can say revelation.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to risk nefarious revelation.
Right. So, well, you know.
It's an impression. Do you think I'm the prophet? Yeah, we do. Okay, it's a revelation.
Right. And it's
revelation coming in.
It's infuriating for me to listen to that because they just change their verbiage. Another thing he says is that the way that they talk is very frustrating for me, especially because coming from that and feeling as uneducated as we did, listening to it, I found myself even reverting back to some of that language. I don't know if I found myself not fully finishing words like, oh, darn it. So darn it. Dang it. And so one of the things he says is that, we have to do a reenactment for you because this was such a dang deep lesson. And I was like, darn it, was it? Dang them.
You want to get that knowledge behind the deep lesson, and then when they do it, you're like, am I the simpleton? I didn't get what
I couldn't understand what he just said.
I couldn't even understand what his deep message is. I guess I must not be close to the Lord. So you start to question yourself and judge yourself.
Right.
So
right. But it's very infuriating to listen to some of that. And again, it's not because they're illiterate. It's just, this is the culture in which they were brought up in. And this is the way everyone around them speaks, but it is very frustrating because I do hear it, and I do sometimes I'll start to resort back to some of that type of language. I have to catch myself really quick. So Christina Marie gets invited over there to speak to the girls personally, right? Without Sam, he's had an impression from the Lord. And again, I feel like this is a test. This is those same kind of tests. Is she going to violate his trust and confidence in her by asking these girls directly questions that are inappropriate, that she knows he would be angry with her for asking? So when she doesn't do this, because I feel like Christina Marie does genuinely want to help these girls, so she's not going to do anything that will endanger that. So, but she's asking these girls, what is it? How do you find that your life has gotten better since you've been married to Samuel? And one of the things that one of the girls says that just shattered my heart, because this is so true, is what more could a girl ask for but just to belong somewhere? And so this is what, as a girl in a society like this, you mean nothing. You literally, you're put on this pedestal all the time as you're the jewel in my crown. You are the most precious thing that I own. You are the most, you are a daughter of God. You are told all of these things, but when it comes right down to the actual, does my opinion matter? No, you're a woman. Sit down. Know your place. Don't talk. And so these girls are like, yeah, since being married to Samuel, I've only felt an increase. I've never felt a decrease. I've only had this. I've only had that. I'm so wonderful to be married to him. But when she said that, what more could a girl ask for but just to belong somewhere? Goes right back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And sense of belonging is right there on one of those basic, you have your fundamental needs of water, shelter, food. And then the next law is sense of belonging. And when you are one of a dozen, what makes you belong? What makes you special? What makes you anything? Did you memorize your hymns? You're always like literally trying to find those little things that make you, that make you special, that make you different, that make your virtue yours and not his. So yeah, what were you going to say? Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to rant all day about this. We got to wrap this up though. Okay. So then Sam gets Christina Marie and a couple of the girls in the car, and he's going to take them for a ride. And I want to share this part with you right here. Hopefully this won't make us edit all these little shares out of our video. If it does, you know why. Okay.
Most precious thing in my entire life, my girl's virtue.
My brain literally almost exploded when I listened to that part. Ownership. So here he takes Christina and Tolga out into the car, and he starts talking about how he had an impression from the Lord that his 13-year-old wife needed to be intimate with Moroni. What in the hell, Moroni? Like, shame on these men. Shame on these grown ass men for actually believing in this and participating in it. Your daughters are that old. And that he needed to sit there and watch this. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just feel like that might, that's a playbook. Again, if you can get other men within the group to commit these crimes, then you're all going to go down together, or
exactly.
You're all going to keep each other secret. What if they hadn't gone down and this community went on? These would be the next prophets, the leadership sitting up there teaching their holy righteous word, while this 13-year-old child is looking up at them going, what the heck? And then if she was to leave later on, then she was drawn away by Lucifer, drawn away by the devil. So,
well, and then it's not like, and the way he phrases it, there's nothing worse. Can you imagine my pain as I watch this man screw? No. What are you talking? Like, this man deserves to spend the rest of his life in jail. I feel like that's even too good for him.
But that's the arrogant way that they talk. He can only imagine it from.
Can you imagine my deep sorrow, my deep pain?
He won't even turn around and look at the 13-year-old and imagine what she went through.
And she's sitting in the car going, you know,
Right.
don't imagine what she's going through, knowing that the man who has already raped her once is now standing there watching another grown man rape her at the age of 13 years old.
Why are you using that word?
Because you can't say it. You
Oh,
can't
okay.
say the other word, or our video will get beeped.
Okay.
And so that's the part that infuriates me, is that don't think about what she's going through. Don't think about any of her needs or how the shame or the guilt or anything that she's going through. Just think about how hard it was for you. And this is where I lose my mind, because I know what it feels like to be at the receiving end of that level of manipulation. I know what it feels like to be told, you don't really feel this way, do you?
Yeah.
Do you feel guilt about this? Do you feel shame about this? Do you feel, well, if you do, then I'm going to use it against you later. But if you don't, then good for you. You passed another test.
Because he asked the question and she starts to answer it. I was so dang scared.
I know. God, that broke my heart.
You know what I mean? And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All of a sudden he's like, you weren't diminished. There was no, what
was there decrease?
Yeah, but he was almost like there's no wickedness in it or decrease.
Yeah. And again, here he goes. You need to testify.
Yeah. He's giving her what to say. And then he asks the question again. And it's like, oh, you're answering it wrong. Here's how I want to answer. Want you to answer it. Now I'll ask the question again. And she answers it the way he wants. That is the conditioning over and over and over and over again the whole time you're growing up. How do you feel? This is how I feel. No.
Are you sure about that?
Sure?
Are you sure that's how you feel?
There wasn't a diminishment there, was it?
A decrease. He calls it increase and decrease. Did you feel I only felt an increase about this. And
he's atoning
for the sins of man,
sins of wicked
by creating more sins,
by becoming a wicked man.
Right. It was infuriating. It was infuriating to listen to that end part. And I don't know how Christina, Marie, and Tolga sat there and listened to that and then got out of the car and said, love you, Sam.
Yeah.
Love you. You know, I understand why she feels like she had to do that. I don't know that I could have done that. Mm-hmm. I don't think that I could have sat there and then gotten out of the car and then said anything more than F you. I don't know that I would have picked up that little girl and walked right away. But again, that wouldn't have solved anything, because you have to break this at a core belief system. You cannot break this. You can't, the harder you try to force somebody into doing something, the more it proves to them that he is who he says he is. Yeah. The more you martyr him, or the more you do anything, the girls just go, see, look, he is who he says he is. He absolutely has to be this man, because look what he's doing. And so it's infuriating to listen to it from multiple points. Me being that girl, being conditioned like that by my father, by my ex-husband, by the priest, Owen Allred. Owen Allred told me things like that all the time. That's not how you really feel, sweetheart. You know, when I told him, no, I don't want to live polygamy. That's not how you know, sweetheart, that you have to live this law. You know that this is important for you. You know that, and
this is the only way to get back to heaven.
And then
the only path.
Exactly. So I was forced in. So being that girl on that side of it, and then being forced to testify, because now it's at a later time. It's like, well, what do you mean? You said this. You can't take that back. You said it. It's good as sealed in gold and done.
I parroted you.
Right.
This was my real opinion. Nope, you can't have that opinion. This is what the opinion should be. Let's hear it. Then you repeat it to keep peace, to be obedient. And then,
I was saying what I was supposed to say in the moment. I was being blindly obedient. I was doing the things that I was supposed to do because I was forced into saying those things and doing those things.
Please forgive me for what I said when I was in a cult.
Right.
I was a parrot.
Right. It's infuriating to watch. So we've got 3 more episodes. We thought that we would be able to get through all of them, like maybe do 2 episodes on this, but we might be just doing an episode per Netflix because of how infuriating it is for us. But we'll see if we end up getting them all. But Yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Let us know if there's something in the episode that you wished we would have covered that we might not have. Because when we're doing this, I have 3 pages of notes on this episode. We have all of these notes. We have it literally playing in the background. But then when we actually start filming, it comes out differently than what maybe we don't ever script, but sometimes maybe we've forgotten things that we were like, dang it, I wanted to say that.
The interesting part is I felt like a lot of the ownership language was what triggered you in this episode.
Yeah.
The most. And the interesting part is if you were to talk to somebody and say, hey, you're using ownership language. No, I'm using scripture. They belong to God. I am just their steward. It's so interesting. Yet then they discuss and talk, and the father says, yes, I turned over my stewardship or my girls to Samuel. It's all this ownership conversation. Yeah. And then when you call him out, no, I'm just a steward. They are owned by God. We are all owned by God. I'm just a steward.
The whole virtue thing. How, you know how painful that was for me to watch my girls give up my girl's virtue? No, you son of a bitch. It was her virtue. It was what I know. I said the F word. I'm like, you effity FF. And Corey's like, I dare you to say that on our video, because it's nothing belongs to us as women. Everything belongs to the man. Everything belongs to the husband. Children. Everything belongs to the father until he bestows that stewardship onto the husband. And so it's not her virtue. It's his virtue that she's his item. And it's very infuriating to listen to.
Well, and it even not necessarily anything to the children. It's not themselves. If you are a righteous follower of the prophet, you as a man, it's not even, you are owned by the prophet.
Yeah.
So he can give and take as he will from you because he's speaking for the Lord. I will take some wives. I will take some daughters. Mm-hmm. So I will give. And so that's why they're arguing that it's just our stewardship, because it can be given and taken from the big guy above at any moment in time.
Well, my ex-husband used to say that to me all the time. I hate your grandfather. I hate your brothers. I hate your uncles that took what belonged to me. It wasn't, hey, I'm sorry that you were SA'd. I'm sorry that you went through that. There's nothing like that. He was angry at what was taken from him. What he felt belonged to him, not to me. I mean, what the hell? I'm just the girl in the situation. I'm just the other human being in a human body having a human experience that happens to belong to you. I'm sorry. But yeah. So there you go. There's my other little rant. Yeah, so let us know in what?
Sorry, we're ranting.
I know we are, because this is very infuriating, because and watching the whole episode just got us both. Like every episode is just so triggering in so many ways. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think. If you don't follow us on other social media, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok. All of our handles are exactly the same. Notes to Self 444. Also, we do leave a link to Holding Out Help and then justice.org. I believe it's justice.org. I'm going to have to get that website down. That one is the website that helps with all of the financial external costs for the court cases for some of these people that are leaving polygamy. It's all of the costs that come, like constables, stuff like that. So both of those, we've got Holding Out Help and the other one linked there, where you can do, because the attorneys do pro bono, but they're still out of pocket expenses. So that's what those are. And again, we will go ahead.
If you like our content, like and subscribe. Melanie's really sad. I guess we lost 4 subscribers. She keeps track of those things. So we'd love some more subscribers, at least 4 more.
I do sometimes. Like if I'm trying to hit a big number, I swear YouTube just messes with us and gets us like right there and then pulls it back and then right there. So yeah, let us please like, subscribe, and share us if you enjoy our content. If not, we will see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.